Episode 39 of Travel Bros podcast. Today, we are going to Turks and Caicos, home of one of the worst airports in the world, PLS. We'll get to that later, but along with the worst airport in the world, it has some of the best resorts in the world, probably some of the best beaches in the world, and definitely some of the most expensive restaurants in the world. I think that's a good 30-second summary of Turks and Caicos. Jamie, what's your feelings on Turks and Caicos? What's your feelings on life right now? How you doing?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the airport's not great. I do think, Turks and Caicos is probably some of the most beautiful beaches in the world that I've seen. I mean, if you're thinking Caribbean, like blue water and white sand beaches, Turks and Caicos is it. I think it's priced accordingly, but it is a beautiful location. I think we've both been there. I've got another trip coming up to Turks and Caicos, so obviously we both have enjoyed it and would go back again.
Definitely. I think real quick, some news and notes action. I don't have any really good news, but maybe just some notes. A few things that we're seeing. Number one is some really good Four Seasons deals in Hawaii right now. I think Four Seasons Maui, we priced out and booked somebody. It's an extra $125 a day in property credit plus your $100 property credit. And some of the prices, I priced out the Andaz Maui for someone that sent us a form through the podcast last week. And the Four Seasons, I think, was $1,000 less for 5 nights plus the extra $750 in property credit. So if you're Hawaii bound, something to think about. And then just a total offshoot note, this might be a little niche for some people, but I figured we would share. I was playing around with the new Chase Edit program, which for those of you who aren't familiar, it's similar to Amex FHR. Chase is now offering sometimes these points boost where you get these offset value. One fair warning I learned, I looked at it for the first time today. I was looking at booking a Four Seasons hotel on there just to see how it would work. And it turned out I actually went and priced it against what was going on. And the Four Seasons itself actually had a third night free promo that's not being pulled in. Like the Chase Edit program is only getting the standard rates, just like Amex FHR. So do think when you're making a value calculation or using your points in that matter, I think sometimes it can work out great, but just be aware. I think especially right now, we're seeing in this post-COVID travel era, it seems like we're getting a lot more promotions, a lot more deals. You're probably not getting face value for that. So something to think about. It was through the Chase Edit program, it was $1,800, and through Four Seasons preferred partner through an agent like ourselves, I think it was $1,280.
Yeah.
So it was almost 600 something bucks difference for 3 nights. So I mean that's a big difference.
Well, and I'll throw out there, I know you were just talking about planning spring break and, how expensive a lot of ski resorts are. And I know we've mentioned this property probably multiple times, but I really do think the Four Seasons Whistler is such a good value. It's so expensive to ski in Vail or Beaver Creek or, Park City. You're talking $1,000 plus a night for, a decent hotel room there. And what did you found like 5 and change for Four Seasons Whistler in March, which is, in my opinion, peak ski season. So I really do think that if you're looking for a luxury ski trip that's still affordable, like that Four Seasons Whistler is hard to beat.
Yeah, it was $530 when you factored in like 6-night free, I think, with taxes and fees, which it's not bad. That is another good one because I was looking at the Park Hyatt Beaver Creek was a place I kind of wanted to go, and it's over $1,500. So
yeah, like that's crazy.
It's crazy. And then the flights to Vancouver are even cheaper than the flights to Vail. I mean, you can obviously fly into Denver for cheaper, but that drive really puts a damper on your fun time out there.
And I will say, I would much prefer to do the sea to sky highway driving from Vancouver up to Whistler than the highway from Denver to Vail. At least it's pretty.
Yeah. I mean, $500 is even, just if we're talking ski season too, I pulled prices at the Hyatt Centric Park City, which by no means is a bad hotel, but it's just a very standard service, not 5-star property. And even that is coming out to $800 a night, those same dates.
Yeah.
So,
I think Four Seasons Whistler, if you're looking for, like I said, that's a great deal for a luxury ski. And not the property itself, but the mountain itself is massive. You can find something for everybody there. And the village is cool.
And if they'd like to sponsor our podcast, travelbrospod.com, we can talk about how great they are every week. Good stuff. Well, let's get away from ski season. I think that was a good data dump of just a few news and notes I had for the week. Some things to keep in mind. I'm going to try and get some of those promos up on social as well. I need a good process of when we find these promos. I'm going to start just trying to put them up in stories or make posts. Give us a follow if you're not on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever that may be. But Jamie, it's Turks and Caicos. We've just landed in the worst airport. What hotel are we off to first?
All right, so I'm going to start with one that I've actually stayed at before, because I'll be able to speak to it a little bit better. So we're going to start at the Ritz Carlton, Turks and Caicos. This is, well, it's not a brand new property. I would say it's one of the new, well, they keep building like crazy there, but it is a new-ish property. Opened back in 2021. So I went right after it first opened and I went for Thanksgiving. It is not a huge property, which I appreciate. It's got 140 some rooms and suites as well as residences. So I I think all of them are ocean view. I don't remember if there were any on the backside that look out. So I think pretty much every room is going to have an ocean view. Obviously, the higher up, you're going to have better views. But right on the beach on Grace Bay, so you've got that perfect, white sand beach, beautiful blue water. So we spent lots of time on the beach there. The pools were really nice. I mean, location wise, you could walk to restaurants and some shops and stuff. So I thought the location was pretty solid there as well.
Perfect. And what benefits can we get from booking there?
Yep. So they participate in the STARS program. So if you book with us, you'll get breakfast for two daily, $100 property credit, a welcome amenity, upgrade, early check-in, late checkout based on availability. So some really good benefits that can, particularly in Turks and Caicos, where everything is very expensive. I mean, breakfast is going to save you a good chunk of money every day there, probably in the $100-ish range. So yeah, I mean, definitely worthwhile. Upgrade can be pretty valuable as well.
Awesome. I think a couple side notes. You stated the Ritz and I haven't, but I'll throw this in, and some of the stuff's probably covered in our South Bank episode as well, which I'll put in the show notes if you want to really deep dive into South Bank. But I think Graceway Gourmet, which is walkable just outside the thing. I'm spinning my hands. Roundabout. Thank you. I was
Yep.
going to call it a turnabout, and I was like, it's certainly not a turnabout. Just down the roundabout is Graceway Gourmet, which I think is the best grocery store on the island if you're just looking to load up on. I mean, honestly, you should at least be getting water, soda, some bread, and snacks. Anything to stop you from like grazing, snacking, and buying $10 sodas at all of these properties.
Yep.
It's not cheap, but compared to these resorts, it is. If you end up staying somewhere nice with a fridge and stuff, they've got a great selection of yogurts, meats. I would say from a Caribbean standpoint, it's probably one of the better stocked grocery stores I've seen. It seems like a lot of the stuff's imported from Miami. So just think of everything you can get in Miami plus $10 slapped onto it. And then right across the street from there, too, is one of my favorite restaurants, Embers. It is, I don't know, it's definitely like an American ish version restaurant. Like it's definitely not the most Caribbean or Turks ish, but if you don't mind eating American style food, the chef I think is from Montana. They have their own in-house butcher. And then Coco Bistro too is really close to there, which is a popular outdoor restaurant. So be conscious that it's outdoors, but that's like a place on I think everybody's list is somewhere to
I
hit.
think
And
we
that's
ate there
all
when we
like
were there.
yeah, that's like almost all walking distance from the Ritz pretty much. So the Ritz definitely is A plus on location.
Yeah, I did like the location. It's nice to be able to walk to some things. A few other things that I thought was cool while we were there. They had bikes that you could like check out and ride around. They were pretty nice, so we did that. I actually biked quite a few miles, like up past beaches, Turks and Caicos, all the way up to where they were building the new Andaz. So I rode all over from there. That was included. Not included, but we took the Lady Grace, which is the Ritz Carlton's catamaran. So they do like sunset cruises and things like that. And they pick you up right at the beach, right in front of the hotel. So that was really nice, convenient. You're not having to like schlep around to go do an excursion. So we did that, which was awesome. Trying to think what else. We ate there. I think they do a couple different like unique activations. So like when we were there the one day, they had like a taco truck set up by the pool. Wasn't actually like a truck, but kind of set up like a taco truck. They were doing tacos and things like that. So I think they do different ones, like maybe sushi sometimes, and they kind of rotate through different kind of unique daily grab and go kind of bite things. We didn't do it, but Ritz always does a good job with the Ritz Kids Club. So that's there. They've got tons of different activities, and you can keep the kids occupied if you want to, sneak away to the pool or something by yourself for a little bit. I may be
Ye
lying when I say this, but I think this is the only hotel on the island that has its own casino as well. I know there's a
Okay.
couple other casinos, but there is a Ritz Carlton casino connected to it. It is a small casino, um, and they did take all my money. I did not win anything while I was there. But if you're a gambler, there is a small casino. Like they had typical table games and maybe like 50 slot machines or something like that. So that's there as well.
Perfect. And I think another thing to note too is they do have residence style rooms. Now, price wise, I think some of these other properties we're going to talk about are probably better valued. But if you want to be at the Ritz and you've got the budget, like they've got a triplex penthouse.
That's the one I think that has the private like infinity pool and everything.
Yep. It's got a rooftop infinity pool, a big terrace, full kitchen. So you can have a chef come and make food, or you can go to Graceway and load up. It'll let you keep up to 8 guests in the residence, 3 bedrooms, 2 king rooms, and 1 double queens. You got a bigger family, some grandparents that want to tag along. It's probably going to be better than trying to squeeze in 3 or 4 rooms somewhere. And then
Yeah.
it has so much open space. And then it's just the overlook of that whole beach area looks incredible from up there as well.
I am going to sell you on a better option, one of these other properties that I showed you before. But yes, I agree. That's a cool one if you want to be at the Ritz. But if I'm splurging, it'll be one of the next ones I talk about.
I do agree with you, Jamie, but there are people who are very Marriott centric
Oh
in
yeah,
this
if
world.
you're
So
brand loyal.
just wanted to throw that out there. I don't think it's a bad choice.
No, not at all.
I think they're better choice. It's here or there. Some people are set in their ways. Have you looked at I was trying to pull up too, are there decent suites like between the
Yeah, I think they still have like some. I'm going to pull up a pricing while we're doing this right now. But yeah, there's some like executive type suites and stuff, I believe. So let me pull these up.
2-bedroom executive suite, a Ritz Carlton regular suite, 1 king.
I'm pulling kind of off season. I'm going to pull 4 nights next month just to see what kind of options
Okay.
we got for you to give you just a ballpark pricing.
And we've also talked about the Ritz Carlton club level. And, there's a lot of discussion. I think Jamie and I go back and forth on, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I think if you can get within 2 or $300 a night and stay at a club level here, I think it's absolutely worth it. Just from that same thing we were talking about, I don't often get sticker shock, and a lot of people seem to get sticker shock way before me. And man, I think in Turks we were over $400 for dinner for the 3 of us each night, like pretty consistently, no matter what we did. We went and got pizza one night, and I still think it was $250. So if you have kids, especially kids who are like at that age, like your kids, Jamie, are kind of at that age, right, where they just can't not eat all day, right?
Yes.
Because they're like 14 and 17 or wherever they,
Yep.
when you get into that age range where they just have to eat all day, I mean, club level is probably going to save you $500 a day and them just not snacking at the
Yep.
pool.
Well, and especially I feel like on a shorter trip, if you were going for a week, yes, it's nice, but you probably do want to get off property a little bit more. But yeah, if you're like especially like a long weekend or something like that, it is nice. You don't have to leave. You can eat all your meals there, and it's really good food. So definitely an option. All right, so I just pulled up some different rates here. This is just for next month. I pulled up 5 nights. So starts at all in with tax and fees and everything about $700 a night for a base room, which for Ritz Carlton with breakfast and everything, I feel like that's pretty decent value here. It jumps up quite a bit once you start going into suites. You're looking at 2,000 plus a night for a suite, which is pretty expensive, but I feel like that entry level, that 7 and change, is pretty decent. And then when you get up into some of these villas and residences, let me see what these look like. So check this out. These villas and residences are actually a way better value than the suites. So you can do a 2-bedroom residence. So it's 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and you're looking at $1,800 a night with tax and fees.
Wow.
Ish.
Okay.
So that's pretty decent. I mean, if you want to really go big, you can do, what do we say? We got this 3-bedroom penthouse. Just trying to find
The
what that is.
triplex, yeah.
3-bedroom, that jumps up. $6,600 a night. But there's a 3-bedroom penthouse that's not the triplex, $3,900 a night. Which, yes, it's still expensive, but As far as, um, something multi-generational, that's pretty big, nice outdoor living space and everything. That's not terrible.
Yeah, I just went across the pricing calendar, Jamie, just looking to see what was out there. It gets pretty predictably expensive in spring break. Like my spring break is about $1,700 a night for a base room.
Yeah.
You know, it's not great. However, Thanksgiving week is actually pretty good here. If you were to go from, say, Sunday to Fridays to like Sunday to Black Friday heading home, you've got a couple nights in the 800s, so 830 a night, and the most expensive night's $1,077 a night for Thanksgiving break. That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible, and the weather in Turks will be great.
So that's actually when I actually went for Thanksgiving. Um,
Okay,
and I thought, the weather was good. We were in the ocean, like it wasn't chilly at all. Ocean was great, sunshine every day. Pools were nice. So yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend. That was a great time to visit.
perfect. Anything else on Ritz, or should I fire up my first
Yeah,
episode?
let's go. Where are you going?
My first episode, my first hotel. I'm gonna do Amanyara, which is an Amman property. If you've never actually heard of this property, you definitely know about it because if you follow about any celebrity, I feel like they stay in that artist villa there. It seems like on vacation. All right. So this property is kind of on the opposite side of Turks than most of the hotels. So you are getting a very excluded feel. And I do think with staying here, one thing you've got to consider is you're probably realistically not eating very much off property. Now, Amman has great F&B. I don't think it's much of a concern. But if you do want to end up eating out, you're definitely traveling a lot further out because you're just across this big nature reserve. But like I think honeymoons, anniversaries, especially kid free, I think this is the exact property I want to be at if you've got the budget, which is a big caveat. Now, this place is very private. It's 38 rooms and 20 villas, and it's sprawling across a huge properties. It's end up saying it's 60 total rooms, so I don't know where the 2 rooms that are missing. Those might be the, like, 6,000 square foot artist suite and stuff. One thing I will say is you're, like, 5 minutes from the airport. You're just going like I said, you're going the opposite direction of Grace Bay and everything, so I think that is a big plus here. And some of the just the design and all the elegance here is, like, of my favorite. It has kind of a very, like, Asian style, like, oriental, in a way, like, building style and how they integrate all the, like I don't know, all the rooms have this very, like, open space and, like, the tops and everything's integrated against the water. Whoever built this place needs I don't know, an award. It has a fantastic spa if you're looking at that. You do have, if you want to go off property, Conch Shack is something that is on this side of the airport as well. So that is nice. Room wise, since Thanksgiving at the Ritz was such a good deal, let's see what some of the room damage is going to be here for those same 5 nights.
While you're pulling that up, I was going to mention one thing to note, and I know we talk about this quite a bit. Their standard rooms are pretty massive. They're 700 square feet. So regardless of what number you come back with, which is probably going to be high, you're getting a pretty big room for, even if you book the most I say cheap room, it's going to be an expensive cheap room, but if you book the most affordable room, it's going to be the size of a suite pretty much.
So this might not have been the best price comparison weekend. The 5 nights here clocks out to about $19,000. It's about $3,800 a night.
Well, I had pulled September just when I was pulling all the other ones. So
Okay.
4 nights, you can do 4 nights September, which I would say is probably off season ish. 4 nights all in 10 grand with tax and fees. So 2,500 a night all in.
See, I think that's an incredible deal.
You got
And then
deeper pockets than I do.
yeah, well, I said it's an incredible deal. I didn't say I'm booking myself, but
Yeah.
I I think Amanyara is a really good introduction to Amman. So if you've never stayed at Amman, you could probably get a cheaper Amman, say if you want to go to Bali or one of these places. But I think if you've never been familiar with the brand, you want to experience what it is. I think it's really true 5-star luxury. You're going to have a level of service you've never experienced And you're really stepping into, I don't even know what that category of hotel would be, ultra luxury hotels.
Yeah, so yeah, I
Like
would say ultra luxury.
you're kind of like going beyond even like what Four Seasons or something would get you.
Yeah. Well, and I think you nailed it when you said this is one you want to do, a milestone like a honeymoon or milestone anniversary or something like that. Particularly if you don't, you know, sure you could splurge and go to the Maldives or something crazy like that. You want a couple hour flight where you're going to get over the top service and like true luxury. This is it.
I would agree. It's been open since 2006. I think we've both had some friends that have stayed there. I think I've heard nothing but great reviews from clients, from friends, from other travel agents that have gone. It just seems to be top tier in function. You've got 2 pools, 4 tennis courts. It is only one dining establishment. So if you're a little picky on some of those things, that might be a downside to consider. Pricing wise, high season, they say there is December to April, May to November is considered low season. I don't know what to say. I mean, we could talk about some of these crazy villas if you just, if we want to just ball out. Like Beyonce did her 40th birthday. I think it was her 40th birthday at the Artist Villa. If we want to pull some pricing on that, oh my gosh, the annoying video like autoplayed. See
Yeah, I got the same thing.
if we want to do these same 5 nights in the villa. Let's see what we're looking at here. Yeah, we're definitely staying in the villas. We want the 5-bedroom artist villa. Dude, I can't even price it. Fortunately, I think I did see the pricing at some point. How about this? The 4-bedroom Tranquility, which is 10,000 square feet of living space, 4 bedrooms with an ensuite. You get your own private infinity pool. You're right on the lake. Maximum 10 people is 20,000 a night. And the artist villa is an extra 5,000 square feet and an extra bedroom. So you're probably in the ballpark of 30 to 35,000 a night. For you big soccer fans, Christian Pulisic spent his part of his offseason over here with his girlfriend.
All right.
So, like I said, if you've never actually familiar with this property, you've seen it, it does seem like a pretty hot spot for celebrities. So if you'd like to rub elbows with a celebrity or possibly see one, that is maybe a possibility here. A couple notes, they are pet friendly. And I will give a shout out. Someone else had mentioned this. There's a company called Bark, Bark, in Bliss. And I guess they're pet travel consultants to help make sure you can get your pets into Turks and Caicos and help you with all the paperwork and process. So if that's important to you, that is there. So they are pet friendly. You do need to fill out an application to bring a pet for whatever, reason you need to get involved there. If you have children under 12, they stay free in extra beds or cots. Older children are 150 a night. And then for being this super expensive, overpriced hotel for everything, babysitting is available at $15 an hour. So,
For as expensive as
basically
everything
free.
is, that seems like a great deal.
Yeah, because we pay for a private babysitter at Baja Mar, and I think Baja Mar is $35 an hour.
Yeah, that seems really good.
15. I mean, just at that point, just send your kid 12 hours a day of babysitting.
Right?
You just write it off against the charges there. But man, I don't know. Listen, if I had a really special anniversary and I was trying not to be too far from, say, let's say you're leaving your kids at home or trying to do something, I think Amanyara is probably at the top of my list for even, never mind Turks. I think top of my list for like Caribbean. I think I would pick this over Four Seasons Ocean Club. I think maybe even I'd pick this over Jade Mountain. You might not agree on that one, but it's up there.
Yeah, so I'd say completely different trip, right? I feel like Jade Mountain, you're there for the room. This, you may be there for the property. The beach is going to be nicer here for sure. Yeah, 2 totally different trips.
Sure. I'm just saying that's where
Yeah,
I'd pick.
yeah.
I think that's where I'd land. And then they offer similar benefits as well. You get your $100 property credit, you get your free breakfast, which, breakfast is a very big help here. They do also, during the off season, seem to offer some decent promos here, is something to keep an eye out for. I've seen some deals such as like 4th night free, or they'll do for every 3 nights you stay, they'll offer like 1 2-course lunch, 1 3-course dinner, and some different promos. So, and then they have some better promos even if you step into the villas. I think a lot of those include where they'll include it basically makes it all inclusive. They'll include 2-course lunch, 3-course dinner, for several and do like a bottle of champagne upon arrival. Just depends on how expensive, obviously, you get. When you get into some of the villas as well, I've seen airport transfers, free pickleball and Pilates, and some things of that nature. So, just something to keep in mind if you do have a stay. It might be worth trying to see if you can make some of these offers work for your stay. I mean, when you're talking fourth night free at $3,000 a night, that's quite a big difference. If you're going to stay 3 nights, you definitely want to stay 4 and get a fourth night out of that place if you can get it for free. Any parting thoughts on Amanyara, Jamie? I see your
No, I mean,
brain turning over
I'd
here.
like to get oh, sorry, I was looking at a map, for our next property. I mean, that's one that I would love to check out sometime if, budget allows or the right deal
Yes.
pops up.
Let's book some hotels so Jamie can take his wife
That's
to
right.
Amanyara instead of Las Vegas for their anniversary. What's next on the list?
Man, so this one hadn't really been too high on my radar where now it is. So I just have to find some friends that want to come with me and splurge a little bit. So we are going to go to Wymara Resort and Villas. And this located right on Grace Bay. And location wise, this may be, I mean, I was pulling up the map to really get a feel for where it is on the beach. And I feel like it's a great location right on Grace Bay. So if you like to walk on the beach or like to snorkel, this is a great spot. You could probably walk a couple miles each way on the beach here. And same, I found on their website, they have a walking and a snorkeling map. So right from like the central location, you could walk or run about a little over half a mile one way and 2 miles the other direction. And also marked on there are the locations for where the good snorkeling is. So if you leave the hotel on the beach and go out to the left, you've got Smith's Reef snorkeling trail. And then out to the right is the Coral Gardens snorkeling trail. So two really good snorkeling locations right from the hotel. This is also near where the new Andaz is being built. So that's just up the beach it's not,
No,
is
it
if it's
is.
ever going to open. I was like, I'm
You said
pretty
it
sure
was
it is.
being built, so I was shaking my head. No, it is
Maybe
not
one
being
day.
built.
It's been being built for like 7 years. So maybe one day it'll open. But all right. So what really excites me about this property, the rooms and stuff, really nice. Where I think this property shines are some of its villas that it has. And they've got villas up to 6 bedrooms. The one that I really stood out to me, where I think if you could find either a group of friends or group of family, like that would want to splurge a little bit, they have a 4 bedroom villa that's located. Most of these villas are located like on the cliffs, and it would remind you of kind of like I don't want to go to the quite extreme of saying like a Maldives or something like that, but the villa's on land and it has a walkway down to the ocean with a dock and everything down by the ocean. But some of these villas have a slide that goes from kind of like the outside deck area down into the ocean, and it looks pretty amazing. It also has 2 private pools. You've got the access to the ocean, you've got the slide into the ocean. So I think that would be a really fun option to go with friends or family. It's not a huge resort overall. It has got 91 rooms and suites. So as far as room count, fairly small, but location is amazing. Got a couple cool activities that I hadn't seen before. So kind of standard ones they've got kayaks, paddle boards, snorkeling gear, but they've got something called, I want to make sure I read this the right way because I'm going to say it wrong. It is what is this? What do they call this? Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find it. It's Pilates, but it's over the water. So it had a funny name. Sorry. I just had it up. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy. Where did you go?
Is it just Aqua Pilates or is it some other
No,
name?
it had a funny name. I can't find it, but one of the activities they have is Pilates, like on these floating boards, which looked really cool. If I find it while I'm looking. But then they also had, tons of different activities you could book from there, whether it's horseback riding, private boat charters, things like that. But hopefully we can get a couple pics and videos up of these villas because the private pools, the slide, I think their villas is where it really shines. And if you're looking for like a multi-generational trip, this would be probably probably one of my first choices on the island for, if you wanted a 4 bedroom accommodation.
Looking at Turks, early 2026 now is the published opening time, considering they're still not even taking reservations and saying coming soon. Early 2027.
Yeah, that would be
I mean, they've got to be losing money hand over fist.
yeah. So when I was there, which was probably 4 years ago now, or close to 4 years ago, they'd been talking about, hey, we're building it, and when I went there, it was just dirt. It was just like fenced off. There was nothing happening, no equipment or anything. Now I've seen pretty recent pictures where, I mean, the building's up. It's not finished, but the building's up. Like they're making progress, but I do still feel like they're. What did you say? Early 2026 they had it listed.
Yeah, that's what they
I
said.
think they'd.
I mean,
I think they'd be lucky to be end of next year.
I was there December 2024, and I mean the building is up, but like it doesn't seem like they've cleared out any of the trees. It doesn't seem like they've worked. There's no parking lot. There's no beach area. What's interesting is at this point, there's also just throw this out here too. There's a Waldorf Astoria set to open in Turks and Caicos in Dallas K in 2028, and
It's a
part of me
race.
wonders if the Waldorf Astoria is going to win. I mean, and that's 175 room setup. It's going to be a 25-minute boat transfer from just outside Turks. Yeah, 42 rooms, 10 suites with big outdoor spaces, 10 beachfront bungalows with terraces and plunge pools, 65 residential units, 2 to 6 bedroom. And man, if the Andaz doesn't open soon, I mean, even if the Andaz opens in 2027, I feel like this Waldorf is steal so much.
That's a major competition right after.
Thunder. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but the Andaz really is like a failure to launch at this
Yeah,
point.
I
Because
feel
what
like
was
that's
the
been
original? I think it was supposed to open like 2021, right? Originally.
yes, I found it. It's called Pool Lattes. So it's
Oh,
Pilates over the pool, over the
Pilates.
pool.
I like
Pool
that.
Lattes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that looks cool.
In 2018, Hyatt announces plans for Andaz Turks Caicos to open in 2021.
And I went in 2021 when it was just a sand pile.
And what's crazy is it's a small hotel.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
don't
like
know.
they're building.
I haven't followed it too closely, but yeah, it's definitely taken way too long.
Yeah. I mean, it's 59 rooms, keys, and 74 residents.
And they're pricey too. Where they start like 2 million or something, I think, when we looked.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't pay 2,000 at the rate they're building these puppies. But anyway, just some side notes on some upcoming hotels there. You want me to talk about Grace Bay? We move into Grace Bay here?
Yeah, let's do Grace Bay.
We're running pretty long here, so we'll button this up. Grace Bay Club is another 5-star property. Now, Grace Bay Resorts has a lot of options on Turks and Caicos. I've stayed at South Bank. I've got a full property walkthrough of South Bank. We've got a full episode if you want to get into details on South Bank. So we're going to kind of skip over that one a little bit. I will say the big upside to South Bank is it is brand new. And so it has all the feels of a very new modern resort. Going to talk about Grace Bay Club. They have some other options as well. But Grace Bay Club, I think, is the best location of all their properties. It's right next to the Ritz, so it's in that same great area we're talking about. The downside to Grace Bay Club is it was built in 1993. So it just has that very ease feel to it. And they've done a good job renovating the rooms and stuff, I'll say. It's almost kind of like high-end Hilton Vacation Club-esque to it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. The food and beverage was really good there. If you stay at South Bank, you are given access to stay at Grace Bay Club for the day. So we spent a day there. The beach is incredible. I don't know if we covered that enough with the Ritz. It's like one of the best beaches I've ever been on. You can walk really far out. The water's super clear. The beach services were great. The pools there are pretty nice as well. I would say some of the service at the pools were not great, but we were there kind of in between meal services. So I think there was just not a lot of people out there, but they seem to be on top of it. But, here or there, there's a children's designated pool. There's an adults pool. There's some hot tubs. They last renovated the rooms in 2010, so they are probably due again. I will say it is 5th floor is the highest floor there. So if you don't get too high up in the air, and they just had they were very good at having a lot of stuff going on property while we were base rooms here are not the biggest, but they are 600 square feet, which when you talk about worldwide, that's a huge hotel room. But I mean, I think we mentioned like Turks, South Bank are all bigger, but I mean, 600 square feet is a very large hotel room. And then if you pull in those same dates, since we've been just using that same Thanksgiving week, it is a little bit more expensive. These base rooms here it's $1,005 a night. So it's just a little bit more than the Ritz.
I know you mentioned that it's kind of like Hilton Vacation Club kind of thing. A lot of these rooms, and I may be completely wrong. I don't have anything pulled up in front of me. A lot of them have
Okay.
like kitchens and stuff, right? Like they have like some residential type rooms there, if I remember right.
Yeah, so the price pulled up is not one of those rooms, but you are correct. They have a lot of they have they have 3 properties on the property. So there's a hotel building, which is a hotel. Then there's a villa building, and then there's these estates. And then the estates are all resident style. So
Okay.
they've got everywhere from I think they have a 5 bedroom, and then I think the penthouse is about as big. And then those come with like a full house, 4,500 square feet. You've got outdoor showers, big terraces wrapping around the building, full kitchen, that stuff. So it does kind of give that essence of some of those things, which those are maxed 8. I can't pull prices on that. They don't publicly list prices on those. So that is you know, if you need to know, it's not for you.
Yeah. What's funny, and you tell me what you think. Turks and Caicos seems very unique in the sense that almost every property has like these multi-bedroom, large 3, 4, 5, 6 bedroom villas where I think about most islands, you don't really run into that. You may have like a penthouse suite or a large suite, but every property we've talked about and every property we will talk about has like these multi-bedroom, like residence type things.
That is true. I mean, because if you think about it, when we went to Aruba, I don't think anywhere had anything like that. And then St. Thomas, we've gone over to, definitely didn't have anything like that. So, and then even Bahamas, like our non Atlantis, whatever episode,
Yep.
that is interesting. So, I mean, this is probably a real destination for multi generational wealth.
Yeah. Truth.
I guess also vacations. I was able to get some of the smaller. So this price is actually not bad at all, Jamie. A Grace Bay Club 5 bedroom estate, sleeps 10, 4 king beds, 4,700 square feet, 4.5 bath. Right now they've got a promo, so you get $750 in resort credit. It's 30% off the book rate. It's basically for the whole off season. Plus, you get all your virtuoso benefits, free breakfast, $100 property credit, 38.85 before taxes.
That's pretty good.
It's $20,000 with taxes for 4 nights. That's sleeping 10, right?
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you've got 10 people or a bunch of kids, I mean, you're probably not finding anything much cheaper than that. I do think one of the upsides here is we did some of the dining here. The Infinity restaurant was great. And then you've got a grill, you've got a sushi bar, you've got a pool bar, another restaurant called Offshore. There's a lot going on. And like I said, all those places we mentioned for the Ritz are also options here. And then they had a ton of activities and excursions. They have their own Grace Bay Resorts app, which I think kind of helps you, like we've mentioned in some other places like Atlantis, have the app kind of track all of the different,
Yeah, I do
hobbies and
appreciate a
things
good app.
going on. Yeah, it was pretty functional. If you catch some of these promos, like they're running this 30% stay off everything, and it's fully refundable up to 30 days before, and it runs all the way until you hit peak season, December 17th. I don't have that. And like I said, if you end up at South Bank, you can spend your days up at Grace Bay. And I really like South Bank as well. If you really want to dig into South Bank, I'll have everything loaded up in the show notes. Our old episodes on
Nice.
there. What is your next hotel, Mr. Jamie?
All right. So this one is a extremely popular family option, and it's one that I do recommend when people are looking for a true, like a really high quality all inclusive on an island that's not really known for their all inclusive options. So Beaches, Turks and Caicos. If I've got a client that wants a higher end all inclusive option where you're not going to, Dominican Republic or Mexico or something like that, I feel like Beaches, Turks and Caicos is probably the best option out there. You're getting the beaches, which is where Turks and Caicos really shines, especially over like a Mexico or a Dominican. So you're on Grace Bay, so you've got miles and miles of beach frontage, but you're also get all the convenience and things that you expect from a all inclusive. It's a big resort. It's over 750 rooms and suites, so it's pretty large, which typically I would say, if you're looking for just true luxury, smaller resorts do it better. But when you're going with kids and you want things to do, I feel like you can a lot of times get more bang from your buck with a bigger resort. So we talked about this one a little bit in our water park episode. So it has a water park. It's got, 10 plus pools. It's got tons of activities, so you're not going to be bored. You really don't need to leave the property. There's 21 restaurants, 15 bars, like tons and tons of different options here. I know our episodes run a little long, so I'm not going to go too like deep in the weeds. We talked about it pretty in depth in our water park episode, so maybe we can link back to that. But I do love this property, especially for an all-inclusive with a beautiful beach. You've got the surf simulator, you've got water park, you've got kids club programs, like you've got tons to do here. If you're looking for something easy where you don't have to think, or you're going with a larger group and you don't want to coordinate meals and things like that, Beaches Turks and Caicos is a really good option. And surprisingly, it's one of the places that you could do a 4-bedroom or like a massive multi-room suite for a large family, which is not super common at all inclusives.
I think my one feedback on this place, looking now just individually at all the rooms, is like, man, they have the most hideous like 4-post beds in almost all these rooms, and I'm like, it really does not do them favors. It's like this old brown.
Yeah, I
The
think they're
rest of
probably due for a reno.
the rest of the rooms don't look bad, but when you have these, it almost looks like a pineapple with like a sphere on top, and just it's on each post, and they go like 6 feet high. Not the most helpful.
Yeah, and the
But
different sections are all like different themes. So you've got like a Caribbean, an Italian, a French, Key West, Seaside. So like you've got different areas with different vibes and things too.
yeah, I think looking at them all without like going super deep, like I'm not looking for myself as a state, but Key West for me seems to have the most like
Tropical.
non-offensive
Yeah.
couture style. The bathrooms look really basic in Key West, but then I don't know, it's like dialed down a little bit. And a lot of these too, I've noticed have in-room washer and dryer, which is a pretty cool feature if you're staying like a longer stay.
Yeah. I mean, I know I love a washer and dryer on a trip, particularly like a beach or ski trip. Like being able to even just dry your bathing suits is nice.
Yeah. 23 restaurants is also pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Turks has great food, but again, like if you're looking for just, hey, I want to just go and park myself at the beach and not think about anything, you don't have to worry about budget. Like you're good to go.
And this is probably the only all-inclusive you would recommend in Turks?
Yeah, I'm not even sure if there are any others. I mean, I think there's a lot of
There's
islands that
there's
don't
not
really
many.
like a Turks. I'll get requests like, hey, I want to do Aruba and do all inclusive. And I would typically say, like, hey, it's not an all inclusive island. And I would say the same about Turks and Caicos typically. Like, there's tons of good restaurants, there's tons of luxury hotels. This would be the only, like, if you're looking for an all inclusive and you've got the budget, this is be one that I would recommend.
Okay.
Do we want to do one more? Are we running along?
I think we can squeeze one more in there. What else you got?
All right, I'm going to squeeze one more in. This one is, and I think we talked about that it comes up quite a bit. It is Como Parrot Cay, and this is actually on its own private island, which is kind of unique. And I say own private island. It's not as, and I'm not even going to say difficult because South Caicos is not super difficult to get to. It's an additional flight, but this is not bad to get to at all. It is, you still fly into Turks and Caicos, so PLS, 15-minute car ride, about a 30-minute boat ride to get to this private island of Como Parrot Cay. Again, you've got, similar to these other properties, you've got lots of room options. So you've got beachfront rooms, suites, all the way up to multi-bedroom estates, some with direct beach access, things like that. So this is one, if you come to, you're probably not going to be going back to Turks and Caicos to go out to eat and things like that. So you're going to spend most of your time here eating on property. Similar to some other ones, you've got some really nice water sport options. So kayaking, paddleboarding, snorkeling. You can book, private charters, things like that. The cool thing is on this private island, and I've got a map pulled up, you can do bike riding, you can do hiking or running around, and it's basically your own island. So it's only people staying at the resort that are on this island, which is kind of cool. Not a huge property. Let me see how many rooms this place has, but it's not a ton. How many rooms does this have?
72?
Yeah, I was trying to give you, 7. I think that sounds right. What do I got here? Yeah,
I
I'm
see
going to go by what you
72 and
said.
74, but
Yeah,
somewhere
so
in
you got
there.
72 rooms in villas, so it's not a huge property, and you're on a 1,000-acre island with, even if this place is sold out, maybe a couple, 200 people, 250 people, something like that max. So it's going to feel like you're on this private island, not a ton of people around. It's a really cool, popular getaway for some celebrities too. They've had Bruce Willis has stayed there. Donna Karen of DKNY, I believe, has stayed there. Got a couple different celebs listed here. But this would be a cool option 2, I got the exact breakdown. You got 26 garden rooms, 14 ocean rooms, Como suites, 1-bedroom beach houses, family beach houses, all the way up to 10 Como private estates with looks like they have their own pools possibly. So that's kind of cool. What else I got about Como Parrot Cay? There's just there's so many good options in Turks and Caicos that it's hard to say like, oh, this would be the one that I would want to do. When I look at the map here, it's neat. Like they have all the like everything's pretty spread out. So it's not like even with all these villas and hotels that you're all in one place, like they're spread out across this island.
I got some interesting tidbits for this place.
Yeah, I'd like to hear them.
It was the host of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's wedding in 2005. They got married on this property. And then I think the most interesting thing about the property entirely is it was built as a private home. So Parrot Cay was originally created by a Kuwaiti family in 1988 who built the large structure that now functions as the resort's main building. The Gulf War affected the finances of the family, and it remained empty and unoccupied until 1998 when Singaporean hotelier Christina Ong purchased it for her Como Hotels group.
That's a pretty cool history.
Yeah. I mean, kind of crazy when you look. I mean, just imagine that being a private home, though, like that.
Thousand acre private island that close to Turks. I bet that wasn't cheap.
Well, nothing ever is until you run out of money.
That's right.
But pretty cool. I think that goes to probably some of it too, is just saying like, I don't know. I always kind of like hotels that don't start as hotels. Like when the main resort building was built as a home, like you always get a different feel, I guess, than something that was like architecturally structured as a hotel. Those always kind of change the feel of things. And I think it's harder and harder to find that as well. So that's kind of a cool, unique opportunity. I think this hotel, you're probably directly competing with Amanyara on Turks versus other islands. I'm not convinced it's like right there with Amanyara, but I think if you're more on the private island side and you don't care about I think you're
The
going to get
cachet that
great.
comes with a Amman.
Yes, I think you're going to get great service at Como Parakeet, but I also think you'll probably just be left alone a little bit more. And so I think it's reflected in the prices. Those same Thanksgiving week I've pulled for all the other hotels with taxes and fees, those same 5 nights is only 80. Oh, sorry, I did 4 nights. So I skipped a night here. I was like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, that's a little too cheap. Let me add 1 day here. Producing in real time, 23rd to 28th. Still not too bad. It's $1,660 a night pre-tax. So for one of their base terrace rooms, you're at $10,500. So you're almost half price of the Amman. And then the transfer is $198 per person round trip. You can do an exclusive transfer, which I'm guessing means non-shared, for $850. So if you have more than 4 people, you might as well just do your own.
Well, and I was going to say, you probably roll the dice. I don't know. I bet you're not sharing too often with only 70 rooms, but maybe you are.
Probably not, but I mean, at 4 people, you're $792,
you might as well.
So you're paying $50. If you have more than 5 people, you might as well just do the exclusive transfer because it'll save you money.
Yep.
For a private transfer, $198 a person is not bad. I mean, when you start thinking the Maldives and places, you're almost $1,000 a person.
Yeah.
So they could definitely whack you for a lot more, I feel like.
And I'm looking at the map of this island. It does look like it would be pretty cool to explore. So you've got an inland lagoon and something called the Boiling Hole. And I believe from the looks of it, there's like an underwater access to the ocean somehow. And it looks like the water's boiling when the waves kind of wash in and boil up underneath the lagoon. So that's kind of cool. You've got a wetland nature reserve, a banana farm, a coconut grove. Like there's a lot of cool things to see on the island. So I do think it'd be neat to bike around and kind of explore and see the sights on the island.
I'm looking at this. I can't even say this with a straight face. The Boiling Hole. I feel like that could also be the name of like a X-rated film, but okay. That does look pretty cool. That's what I mean. I think it's like, if you're deciding between here and Amanyara, I think if you're more on the adventurous side and you like, the animal interactions, running, just totally being remote and alone, I'm sure you can kayak on this opposite side of the protected side of this island and stuff as well. It's Seems like it'd just be a really fun time.
Yeah, so I think we hit quite a few cool options for Turks. I think Turks is not a cheap location, but I would argue it's probably Grace Bay is probably one of the best beaches in the Caribbean, if not the best beach in the Caribbean.
I tend to agree. It's a really incredible beach. I think one disservice we did to our format is we didn't cover flights. I just realized we usually do that at the beginning of each episode. But I will say most of the major airlines will bring you to Turks. I can knock out a few real quick, but like from Minneapolis, you've got Sun Country and Delta. DC, you've got United. Orlando's got Southwest. Miami's got American. Dallas got American. Atlanta's Delta. New York, you got United and JetBlue. Toronto, WestJet and Air Canada. Montreal, Air Canada. So pretty much every airline's got some kind of representation. Boston's got a JetBlue direct. Philly's got an American direct. Miami's got 2 direct. And then another cool thing, if you want to do a combo with the Bahamas, you can British Airways on a super wide body, right? Because that's a continuation flight. It goes PLS, Nassau, and then off to London on a 777. So that's kind of a cool, unique option.
I don't
And
think I
usually,
realized that was one.
yeah, and it is one. And then also, it's usually very cheap because it's got a lot of seats. If you want to look at that. And then one other tidbit I'd like to throw in, and then I don't know if you've got anything else, Jamie. If you are traveling at a time of year that is high traffic, Christmas, spring break, they do offer fast track services for the airport, and it's $75 per person, and they will essentially escort you. You get off the plane and they'll bring you to it. You're really just it's a pay to the front of the line pass.
Yeah.
It's the lightning lane
Yeah, that's
of
true.
Turks Airport. Now, I didn't do it. I went just after Christmas, so we flew in on like the 28th and left on the 3rd. I didn't really need it, but then we've had a few clients that have gone I remember we had someone go for spring break who said they stood in line for almost 2 hours. And I was like, look, for 2 hours, I would pay $75 a
I
person
totally would
to
too.
get around that. Now, it is something you can purchase beforehand for arrival. You can purchase it on site for departure if the departure's a total
Oh, that's
mess.
nice. Pay to skip the
Yes.
line.
Well, they had people with boards when we were there. Now, if it's super, super busy, that might end up being sold out. You might not get that opportunity. But if the hotel or the rideshare is saying like, hey, you need to get to this airport 3 hours early, it's going to be really busy. What I would do is show up an hour and 45 minutes early and use Fast Track, because that is an airport you do not want to spend any time in at all. In fact, even when we were there, I got through security fine, but a couple of the planes had been delayed, like the United flight, surprise, surprise, United delayed. And I even think the early Atlanta flight hadn't left yet, and there wasn't a seat. We were just standing around, which, when you have I think my daughter was still 5 at the time, but it was like, I was like, yeah, just stand in this corner and watch your iPad till one of these planes takes off. Not a great experience. There's not really any food in there either. Nothing you're eager to eat. So it's definitely a place where I would consider Fast Track to be well worth it. And it is a partnership run like directly through the airport. They just have people that'll just walk you to the front of the lines. So it's $75 a person if you're on a very expensive trip or anniversary trip, or you're going when it's busy. I would just write the check and forget about it. Anything else for you on Turks, Jamie?
I'll be going again in a couple months, so I will try and get us an update on the Andaz that maybe we could hit in a future episode.
Where are you staying for your trip?
Same place you went. I'm doing South Bank, so going with another couple from the neighborhood. So we'll be checking out South Bank. Probably do
Nice.
Grace Bay Club one day. Yeah, looking forward to checking that new property out.
Well, if you hit some sports bets between now and then, maybe you can just move over to Amanyara.
I was gonna say, if I could get that 4-bedroom, get another family or 2 to go with me, maybe we'll do Wymara and do the 4-bedroom with the slide.
There you go. That would be pretty sweet.
Literally, man, I can't believe, what are we, 30? What was episode 39 already?
Yeah, 39 episodes, baby.
We're gonna be
Please book
creeping up
with
on a
us.
year soon.
Yes. Technically, this should be episode 40, but we did miss one episode to beat ourselves up a little bit. So 12 weeks away from our 1-year anniversary. If you need to book with us, if you need to book a hotel, just message us, please. travelbrospod.com/book with us. Fill out the form. We will get back to you as quick as we can. We've actually, we went through a little, like the beginning of August was a little cold period. I was thinking no one was listening anymore. But news to you, Jamie, you don't even know this, but we broke a record. That was last week was our highest downloads on Apple Podcasts.
Okay,
So that was
let's
very
do it.
exciting. And then we actually had a lot of inquiries this week. So I'm excited. We're happy to help you guys out, and we will see you next week.
See you guys.